welcome to this week's Burning Truth with myself, Scott Barrett, alongside the man who is as intelligent as he is handsome. It's Matt Burns.
I don't know whether that's a compliment or an insult.
Both.
Either way. It's all in good jest.
Yeah, this week we're here again to give you all this week's wrestling news, some fun segments. Press your cough button, Matt Burns.
Oh, sorry.
To give you all this week's wrestling news, some fun updates, and just to have a bloody good time talking about the world of professional wrestling. How are you, Matt Burns? Good week?
Yeah, very good week. A few bumps and bruises,
yes,
as we may already know about, because we may even do a bit of a cheap plug about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Been just come off 2 nights wrestling for United Wrestling Live in the Midlands and North Wales. You know, a bit rough. We're both a bit bruised, a bit battered, but we're both here and we're excited to talk about this week's wrestling, yeah?
Definitely.
Press your cough button, Matt Burns.
Whoa. Calm down. Well, bear in mind that someone did make me almost run a marathon.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that possibly later.
Maybe. We've got loads to talk about today. We've got the fallout from All In.
Yes.
We've got last night's Bash in Berlin to talk about. And lots going on. The side quest continues.
The side quest.
The Hardys believe in Joe Hendry. There is lots and lots to talk about. So maybe we should just get cracking.
Yeah, let's just get cracking. And shall we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, let's talk about this
the
week's
news.
So just sit tight, don't blow a fuse, because now it's time for this week's news.
Right then, let's get into this week's news. I think the first thing to talk about, Matt Burns, is the side quest continues.
It does. Just astounds me, that does.
Where did the wrestling god turn up this week?
This week, he's crossing the line.
Oh, yes. So JBL appeared in TNA this week, to everyone's surprise, and much love from the Burning Truth Live, because we've decided that we love JBL. He is a wrestling god. What is he now? He's the Guardian.
He's the Guardian of Wrestling.
The Guardian of Wrestling, which we absolutely love. So long may this side quest continue for JBL. And I think we're pulling for him to appear somewhere new every week for as long as possible. He's a bit like Where's Wally, but where's JBL?
It is. It's almost turning in. It's just, where's JBL? Where's he turning up next?
Yeah. Hopefully he'll cross the pond and get himself into some UK promotions as well. That'd be pretty cool now.
Solid. That would definitely be solid.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. What else in the news this week? Oh, Sid Justice. Really sad to hear about Sid Yulee, Psycho Sid, Sid Justice. The other name?
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious, yeah, in WCW. Yeah, really sad to hear about that. We were only talking about him and jesting about him last week.
We were laughing and joking, and yes, the man had some unique way of doing promos.
That one promo that just sticks in our head. But yeah,
no, there's more. I'd say there's 2, but as much as, okay, it was a fumble, it was a laugh, the man didn't actually hold a grudge. He understood the assignments and pushed on and carried on.
Yeah. And, 2 WrestleMania main events, the first person to kick out of Hogan's leg drop, and an amazing career. And actually, what's really come out and really been showing through since his passing is what a family man he was.
Oh,
so I think that's fantastic. So, thoughts and prayers go out to Sid's family. And certainly the wrestling world lost an absolute giant. So we're all really sad about it. And it's a shame that he wasn't as active in the last few years as possible. And I always think, like, if he hadn't broke his leg when he did in WCW,
he might have been active a bit more.
We could have seen him, around the Invasion time, etc. And that maybe would have been something really cool. But hey, this is how things worked out. And, we're just really sad that Sid's gone. So rest in peace, Sid.
Yeah.
Third piece of news we want to talk about this week. This does cross over a little bit into a review of this week's wrestling, but new AEW champion last week in All In London.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about that, Matt Burns.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson. Wow. I'll be honest with you. If the bookies were banking on a retirement,
I thought he was going to retire. Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was going to be a retirement. Supposedly, he was against the idea of potentially becoming the actual world champion. But
that's what I heard. Yeah.
But it looks like he got convinced otherwise.
Good news.
It's good news. We're getting a bit longer. Just that little bit. Just that little bit more. Just that little bit. But he has brought up some interesting news in regards to his future of wrestling, which might bleed, like as you said, bleed into a bit of the, what's going on, what's been happening this week, which is he has announced officially that once he loses his AEW World Championship, that's it.
Okay. And what do you mean by that's it? Retirement?
Retirement. He's done.
Retirement full-time or retirement full stop? Because I read that he was talking about retirement from working full-time and that if he did lose the World Championship, then he would become a part-timer.
It might be the case, but there has been talk of possible full-time.
Oh, right. And I suppose it depends on how long this reign lasts. AEW's not scared of a long title reign.
No, they're not.
So let's hold the fort here. What we have got now is, the next few months of AEW programming, hopefully, a really good Daniel Bryan championship reign. And is this his first championship in AEW?
It's his first one.
So, making it the World Championship, because the guy is a bona fide, future Hall of Famer. That's, the legacy of Daniel Bryan is absolutely huge, or Bryan Danielson.
Do you want to get the money jar out?
Yeah, you might need it. Yeah, pounding the jar for getting the name wrong.
Oh no, it's double for me because it's always wrong for me. For you, I'll let you off this time.
Let you off first time.
First time.
But yeah,
everybody gets one.
Hopefully this will push forward some good story in AEW, because we all know that the story in AEW is the thing that most frustrates me, or the lack thereof. So hopefully this can help us turn a corner.
Well, there is more to add on, but we'll get to that when we get to the actual review anyway.
Okay.
But let's move on to the next piece of news.
Our fourth and final piece of big news this week is WWE PLEs to have bigger focus on tag championships going forward. This really excites me, Matt Burns.
It does excite me because we, outside of this episode, we actually discussed this, didn't we? Separately, because we talked about the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship.
Yep.
How it suddenly just faded into the background.
Yeah, absolutely. Did do over the last few years, totally faded into the background. And then last night at Bash in Berlin, we absolutely made a big song and dance about the women's tag titles. We have done probably over the last couple of PLEs that they've been involved in, actually. And the story much stronger going into it. Obviously a huge push for Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who took the championships. I have listened to some past episodes of The Burning Truth before I was joined, and actually you guys were not big fans of Jade Cargill in her AEW days.
No, because during that, I put that down, and this is me personally now, and bear this in mind, I'm the AEW fan.
Yeah. Right?
I actually put the blame on them a little bit. Because it was almost like they hadn't added that little, crisp, that extra polish, that little,
And do you know what? That's really interesting you say that, because I feel like that's what they're doing with her, with this tag team championship feud story, etc. The whole tag team with Bianca Belair. What it's doing is it's just polishing her up a little bit and making sure that when she is ready for the big championship matches against the Rhea Ripleys, the Charlotte Flairs, the Becky Lynches, etc., that she's 100% ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, PLEs to have a bigger focus on tag team championships. I think if we think back to the black and gold NXT in its heyday, when the tag team championship matches were probably the best part of the network specials.
Oh, yeah.
When we were talking about, the FTR at the time, the Revival, American Alpha, even AOP were putting on clinics, DIY, and even on to when, Bobby Fish and
Kyle O'Reilly
were tag
at the time they were known collective as the Undisputed, or
the Undisputed Era,
their actual tag team proper, which I've always called them this, Red Dragon.
Yeah, and so a bigger focus on tag team wrestling seems like a great thing. And if we're going to have PLEs with a bigger focus on tag team wrestling and tag team championships, that can only lead to some amazing matches, because what tag team wrestling gives you is more variety in spots, what's possible in terms of the story of the match, and that's why I love them so much. So tag team matches, tag team championship matches in PLEs with proper focus, not popcorn matches. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm here for it. Absolutely.
Definitely. I 100% agree with you on that one, and it's always great because with the tag match, I feel as though you don't always have to have it be just one story being told. You can have 2, 3. You can have fun with it.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's been loads more news this week, but we are limited by time, and therefore we're going to move on now to a review of this week's wrestling. And I think this week we should start, as we did last week, with AEW. So let's talk about AEW loads this week. We had All In Fallout, and then we've got this week's Dynamite, Rampage to talk about. So I'll just let you riff for a couple of seconds, Matt Burns, on this week's AEW, and I'll ask lots of questions.
I'll try and keep it, brief as much as I can. As much as I can. But I don't want to be all centred on AEW, because we've also got to cover Bash in Berlin as well, of course.
Absolutely.
Because, wow. I will say, watching AEW All In was great, and seeing plenty of people who I haven't seen in a while pop up from out of nowhere, with certain, GYV, grizzled, young veterans.
Yeah, absolutely.
With James Drake, and especially, Liverpool's number one, Zach Gibson.
Zach Gibson, yeah, fantastic act, and really happy that they were there All In. Actually, we met Zach a few years ago now, way before he went over to the US, and really good guy. So glad that he's getting the opportunities that he's getting. Well done to him.
Yeah, definitely. Including James Drake, because both of them are absolute top talents. They know what they're doing, and honestly, they don't just do a little. They don't treat it as just as work. You can tell they're passionate about it, because they don't just take in the opportunities. They also give back as well, very much so. And I feel as though when WWE had them, it was like, yeah, they're on WWE, but I feel as though they missed the mark with the whole dyad situation. And now that they're now back to being grizzled young veterans. Take my money, simple as for me. As soon as I saw them, I was like, oh, and them making coming back and going up against like the Outrunners on this week's Rampage, interesting straight away. So for me, that was just like, ooh, I need to see more of this. But at the same time, they sort of like in between, they're sort of tweeners, because they're feuding with FTR and the Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they should be. Let's get all the tag teams, all the best tag teams together, and let them crack on.
So again, AEW focusing on tag teams almost at the same time as WWE. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And rightly so, because as we just said, tag team wrestling, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So what else is going on in AEW?
We've also got a new AEW World Women's Champion in the Glamour Mariah May, and I will say Toni Storm, absolute great, amazing showing. I know a few people were sitting there saying, oh, it wasn't that great, but to be honest with you, I think some of it was really good. And then you've also got Nikki, I'm just trying to make sure, Nikki Bella, who actually said it was absolutely inspirational watching it, and even she was sitting there thinking to herself, it almost made her feel like she wanted to dust off her wrestling boots. I don't know how people feel about that one.
Yeah, I'd rather she didn't, but there you go.
But the point being is, it's actually making her feel like she wants to get in. Who knows, that could actually be for the next generation. It could actually make, people see it and have them think.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
There's that. We've also got, as we mentioned earlier, Bryan Danielson becoming the AEW World Champion, and they've already revealed his next feud.
Oh, I didn't know this. Go on.
Oh, a former Jungle Boy.
Oh, right, okay. Right, I'm going to stop you right there, Matt Burns. So, is he the worst professional wrestler in one of the big two companies right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is. And it's not Dominic Mysterio heat.
No.
It's
the reason why I said the way, I sounded more excited. I wasn't excited because it's him. I was excited to hear your reaction.
Do you know what? I think he's utter garbage, and not in a cute, he's a good heel kind of way. I think he's genuinely utter garbage. I don't think he's believable. I don't rate his in-ring work. I don't rate his promo work. I think he's a bit too big for his boots, and I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't think he's a draw.
The only thing about him is they think he's a draw because at AEW All In, when he decided to get some glass out, literally during his match, you could hear the crowd. How do I say this? Singing "Cry Me a River," but in the style of Seven Nation Army.
Wow. And yeah, so for me,
but the point being is, he just feels like I think the confusion, him making meme-ish moments into popularity, and it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not.
It's AEW's obsession with pushing the wrong people that is the downfall. So it's like a story, and it's pushing the wrong people, and this is pushing the wrong people. Let's name 5 other people right now while we're talking about it who could have been Bryan Danielson's first chat. Nearly put a pound in the jar then. Bryan Danielson's first challenger for the AEW Championship, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk them through. So 5 main events in AEW. Go.
Rematch with Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay, number 1.
Straight away. The rematch with Swerve.
John Moxley, 3.
Straight away.
MJF, 4.
MJF, 4. And I'm just trying... Chris Jericho,
5. 5 huge names.
And that's not even covering... Oh, you know what? I'm just going to throw in a 6. Samoa Joe,
there you go. 6 huge names that could have had championship shots, title shots, stories with Bryan Danielson before this absolute clown. I don't get it. I've never got it. And I'm not going to get it, I don't think.
I'll be honest with you. The only reason I think they've gone with this is because they definitely know he's not winning that championship.
Maybe.
I just think he's just being cannon fodder.
Maybe. I just do not get it.
It's either going to be cannon fodder or it's going to turn into Brian did say he wanted to kick in a few heads. Maybe he wants to kick some sense into him.
Do you know what? I'm really interested in what people listening to this think. So,
yeah.
By all means, let us know. We're on the Twitter at TBT Live UK.
Yeah, just freshly... TBT Live UK.
TBT Live UK, where you can email us info@theburningtruthuk.
No, I'll cover that one. info@theburningtruthuk.com.
Yeah. Send us a message on the website. We're really interested on how do you feel about Jungle Boy Jack Perry?
Well, he's not even Jungle Boy anymore. He's now Scapegoat.
Okay, Scapegoat Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jabroni Jack Perry. How do we feel about him? You know, is it that he's just been a really good heel and that's why we hate him, or is it that he's actually terrible and we don't find him believable and we don't like him at all? Because
I don't like him.
That's the point, isn't it? You know, how do we feel about him? Are we wrong? Are we right? Let us know.
But there is one piece of AEW news that I didn't know if it was. You know, it looks like it was leading to something.
Okay.
Moxley.
Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. Go
yes.
on. Take the lead.
Moxley making the comeback, and it's like, ooh, you know, good seeing back and everything. But the way he carried himself, you know, he wants to fight. He wants to have a chat with Darby Allin. And just before he goes for leave the ring, you know, you've got Tony Schiavone making his announcements, and also he goes back and no. Let's get things correct. Let's set the record straight. This is not your company anymore.
And what do we think that means?
Everybody's instantly assuming straight away a certain Shane.
Right. We think the Hurricane's coming to AEW.
No.
Not that Shane.
Not that one. You know, a certain Shane, you know, Shane O'Mac.
All right, okay, so this is where we think Shane O'Mac fits in.
Possibly, but it's just weird how it was just subtle enough for people to get it, but it wasn't direct enough to say this is definitely happening.
So what we've got right now is a bit of anticipation and a bit of potential surprise coming.
Yeah, because we don't know if it is going to be Shane or
if it's a letdown. Because let's be fair now, anything other than Shane is going to be a letdown, which is what AEW normally do. They say, we've signed the biggest star in the world, and it's the Big Show. So let's hope AEW don't let us down here.
Hang on, I'm sorry, but why are you picking on Big Show? You know,
Card Factory, say no more.
Oh, bear in mind, he was a pointless answer this week.
He was a pointless answer this week.
Anyway, but that aside, but honestly, you know, moving on from that, but honestly, I feel as though this week it's been quite solid for AEW because straight after the Mox situation, I wanted to just cover the MJF situation. Now that, I'm going to say MJF and Daniel Garcia. Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yeah. Because
they've actually, at first, because what makes it so interesting is because not many people realise that Daniel Garcia was close to his contract expiring.
Yeah. And
it was during that time is he, won't he? What's going on? Are they going to end with with him being taken out by MJF? He's come back. I even like the little bit of MJF being a bit upset with his diamond ring being missing. And then Daniel Garcia explains it. He nicked it, used it, pawned it and used to get tickets to fly over to AEW All In.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so I'm sure you'll update us on how that progresses next week.
Definitely.
And how all these other stories are going, and that is AEW for last week, and I think, some interesting things there, and some potential letdowns, but also there's some good, some bad, and some ugly in AEW.
There is, and the one feud I do want to bring up, but it's just going to be just a quick mention, the feud between Swerve and a certain cowboy.
Okay.
A certain cowboy, Adam Page.
Oh, right, okay. And what do we think about that story then?
Oh, that's been a long time coming. That has been a long time coming. He's been that focused on Strickland. It's almost like he's burning his own career just to get his hands on him.
Okay, so another interesting story developing there. Hopefully a real story and not an AEW.
Oh no, they have built it up already because
okay.
it's all out cage match. Lock everybody out, and you got Adam Page saying, "You've never beat me 1-on-1 clean," and Strickland just goes, "Well then, why don't we just keep everybody out, keep us locked in." Cage match.
Okay.
Done.
Let's go from AEW then and talk about the Bash in Berlin. So from London to Germany, and we'll just go straight into Bash in Berlin because I think the results on there speak to some of the storylines coming out of Raw and SmackDown this week. So I suppose first thing to talk about would be the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill regained their titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the Tag Team Championships that they lost on SmackDown just before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And for me, this was a real treat. It was a bit of a surprise. I really enjoyed the match. I wasn't expecting to like it, but some of that stuff we talked about in the news, the focus on Tag Team Championship matches and PLEs,
yes,
it definitely had more thought to it than the normal Tag Team Championship popcorn match that we've been getting.
Yes.
So what happened, I think, over the last few years in WWE is, as WWE, probably over the last 10 years now, put more focus on the women's division, it took, although tag team had never been priority, the tag team matches started to become the popcorn matches.
Yeah.
And I think to see a focus on that has been absolutely brilliant. And what you can see Triple H and the booking team in WWE are doing right now is they're reducing the amount of matches on the PLEs and making them all mean something.
Yes, which I feel as though is right, and credit to that match as well. I'll give both, credit to how they've handled the whole Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, because in that match, Bianca, who's normally been the EST, she took the beating.
Yeah.
And it was like, so then when she eventually got that tag, when Jade came in, she had to look like she means business.
And we talked about this before,
And
Cargill
she carried herself.
Yeah, Cargill is an absolute star. She's still learning, she's still polishing up, but she's an absolute star. What else did we have? We had CM Punk defeated Drew McIntyre, touching all four corners in the strap match. This has been a little bit slated online as the worst match of the night, only because what's been said is that it was billed as a major grudge match and it was lacking intensity and relied too heavily on the gimmicks, and I disagree. I think it was absolutely spot on. I've watched it this morning and I think that the match was spot on. I think it was a great end to the feud. I think CM Punk can move on from this now. Drew McIntyre can move on from it, and I genuinely really enjoyed it. Probably my favourite match of the night. So although it's been heavily criticised online, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was the best match of the night. And now CM Punk, I think he did I know he did an interview after the show where he parodied Booker T. He talked about whoever the world champion was going to be and said, "I'm coming for you, sucker." So
Yep.
Here he comes, CM Punk coming for the world championship. So moving on, we also had the Terror Twins, coined the phrase by Matt Burns on this very show 2 weeks ago. Don't let anybody tell you any different. The Terror Twins,
Not even Pat McAfee.
Copyright Matt Burns, defeated the Judgment Day, which was Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan in an intergender match, or a mixed tag team match, which was again a really solid bout and the right finish as well. So Rhea Ripley got some comeuppance on Dom, but then she also got some comeuppance on Liv Morgan. The Judgment Day came in. I think Damian Priest got a decent amount of retribution, and at the end of the night, or at the end of the match, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley stood tall in the ring, and the Judgment Day were in retreat.
What was interesting in this is because 9 out of 10 times in the past, if this was during a certain other era, we wouldn't have had Rhea Ripley doing certain moves on Dom or even on Carlito.
No, wouldn't.
It wouldn't have happened. But yet, it did happen, and the scary thing about it is most people start saying, women can't wrestle men. Have you seen Rhea?
Yeah, she's absolutely undeniable.
Come on.
So,
Rhea.
really good match there. Then we had the opening match, actually, which was Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the Undisputed WWE Championship. We talked about this last week. We were waiting for a Kevin Owens heel turn.
Yes, but the storytelling on this made me care.
Yeah, absolutely.
It made me care.
When Cody came off the top rope holding his knee and Kevin Owens couldn't go for it because he was doubting himself, because he wanted to do it and not have an excuse.
He didn't want to be that prize fighter.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I'm really interested with what happens with Kevin Owens next.
Yeah.
I still think we're in for a heel turn.
Oh, definitely. Especially with the fact that a few times when Cody limbered and as he was outside, you see Kevin checking up on him and goes, I'm fine.
Yeah. And I just think that Kev, he's gonna have to. The turn's gonna be fabulous. Whoever he turns on, maybe LA Knight, but that's what's in my head. But I think how we get there now.
I still think it's gonna be Cody.
Do you? How we get there now is him really going back to a real vicious heel Kevin Owens, which is what we all want to come out of him next. So,
yeah, it needs to happen because the fact that you've got it looked like was Cody playing on the fact that he knew that he was taking advantage of KO.
But if it wasn't clear, Cody pinfall beat KO. Fantastic match, just shy of 25 minutes. Exactly what we wanted as an opener. And if you're going to watch, for me, if you're going to watch a match from the show, I would watch all 5 because I'm just trying to pick one then.
Pick 5.
I would have said this one, but actually no, they were all fantastic. This is well worth watching. WWE really made a B show here into a must-see PLE.
Yeah, it's weird because a lot of people were sitting there saying, "Oh, we haven't had much build-up." People would complain. It's like
the matches are predictable, the finishes are predictable. Well, they might be, but it was still bloody brilliant.
And
which takes us to the main event, which was the World Heavyweight Championship from Raw, the classic big gold belt, if you like, or the new version of the classic big gold belt. And we got Gunther defending against Randy Orton. Absolutely fantastic match, just shy of 35 minutes. Gunther wins by technical submission off a sleeper hold in a match that was full of RKOs. Amazing wrestling, and it really felt like a passing of the torch.
Yeah, and what was interesting is, just in case if there was any changes for the night, like if Orton won, they actually already had that in play where if Orton won, he would have been staying on Raw and Gunther to SmackDown.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. But it was like I said, like the passing of the torch. Now, what I thought was interesting is, compared to Gunther in the past, he didn't look as massive against Orton. Orton looked at that a
that's
bit.
because Orton's huge. He's about 290
at
a minute. Yeah,
that's what I mean. But it didn't actually harm Gunther in any way. If I'm honest with you, it was nice to see that back and forth between
and
Orton.
it made him look even stronger on the outswing. Definitely,
Yeah, definitely.
Gunther, it was slow paced, psychological, and for me, it was an absolute masterpiece. Orton passed out from the sleeper, which is a rarity, a rare finish, and it meant something. And then for Orton to shake hands with Gunther at the end of the night, absolutely fabulous. Also, big call out for Ludwig Kaiser, who came out and did the introduction for Gunther, which was fabulous. He then got back in the ring after the match to help cheer on Gunther in front of the not his home crowd, but his adopted home crowd, which was absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, if you're going to go away and watch any wrestling this week, don't watch that garbage from AEW. For me, go back and watch the Bash in Berlin. And for those who can't see us, because this is an audio podcast, Matt Burns' face tells a story when I've just said that.
I am a fan of both products. For me, I've always said watch as much wrestling as you can and then take it on board. I will say, though, there is only so many hours of a week.
And if you're going to watch something, Bash in Berlin was fabulous, wasn't it?
Definitely watch it. 10 out of 10 for
really
me.
Good show.
I thought that was... And I will credit WWE for that, because they seem to be making changes with pay-per-views lately, and they're absolutely knocking it out the park.
Yeah, really, really, really good. And with that... Should we move on, Matt Burns? Because I was thinking it might be time to bury something alive.
I think so too.
Buried alive, or we say goodbye. Things we can't stand not today. Locked and gone in the ground, never to make
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Buried Alive.
Yeah, this is Buried Alive. This is our segment where it's very similar to the TV show Room 101, where we take a something, an angle, a storyline, a match, and anything from professional wrestling, and we decide whether we should bury it alive for it to never see the light of day again.
Now, what's been interesting for us is we did one episode where, we threw something at each other.
Yep.
Or we brought our own little segments and we decided between it. But lately, it's like we've had 1%, we've had a few sent in.
That's it. We gave the keys to the segment to the audience, and we asked what were the things that you would like to bury alive. First week we had an email from a young man saying no, that was last week. He talked about backstage brawls. We decided that we could not bury backstage brawls alive. However, this week we've got a comment from Myra Hills who says, another great fun episode, and it would seem that JBL seems to be expanding his range and crossing lines. Oh, and got a suggestion for next episode. Is there any chance that the whole Katie Vick storyline could be buried alive? So, how do we feel about the Katie Vick storyline? Matt Burns?
Whoa.
You go.
Oh, what? I like how you did that. This is, for me, wrestling horror fuel. It's one of the worst segments I have ever come. I'll be honest with you. I honestly thought the one that the first week that we had, the one that we buried for me.
Yeah.
That entire feud.
Yeah.
Was bad. I thought that was bad. This is actually worse than that.
Oh, okay. So you think that this should be buried alive?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
This needs to be buried alive and cremated.
Okay. Well, I am going to disagree.
How? How?
I don't think we should bury alive the Katie Vick storyline, right?
What, you think we should rebook this?
No, I don't think we should rebook it, but hear me out, okay? In 1992, 1991,
yeah,
somebody sat in a room and must have said, what if we have a character who's dead? Right? And everybody had to sign off on that. And that's a terrible idea, in theory, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
In theory, that's a terrible idea. Everybody went, you're mad. You're absolutely crazy. Then, right, let's talk 6 years later, 5 years later. We say, okay, this character, let's give him a brother who was horribly burnt and grew up in an asylum without his brother, and his brother thinks he's dead. And let's bring him back. And I tell you what, let's make sure they've both got supernatural powers, right? And they all sat in a room and went, that's a terrible idea, but let's do it anyway, right? We then see the evolution of this character, Kane, yeah? And he's burnt, and he can't talk, but then he can talk, right? And we get a bit of evolution, and we humanise him a little bit. We have him tag up with X-Pac. We have the Brothers of Destruction. We take away some of his masks so he can talk a little bit better now. Mm-hmm. He's got Canaanites, yeah?
I remember that.
Okay. And we see the evolution of this Kane character, yeah?
Yes.
And then finally, we get to the point where was this 2002? I believe this was 2002.
I think it was 2002.
Kane storyline. And somebody sat in a room and said, what if Kane's girlfriend died when they were in high school? Yeah?
Right.
Again, a terrible idea on the face of it, yeah? But all the other terrible ideas so far had worked out.
Right. I'm sorry, but the idea of it, I get the idea, the concept. Mm-hmm. That's not what I've got an issue with.
Okay, so then we've got the heel, Triple H, yeah? And he is obviously mocking Kane, right? And trying to make him out to be the worst human being possible, right? He's trying not just to upset him, he's trying to embarrass him, right? By doing the whole Katie Vick in the coffin with the mask on bit, yeah? That's what he's doing. That is what he's doing.
Right? I'm sorry, but I can't believe we're having to discuss this. In this, I feel as though this episode should be explicit. Because, wow.
But, right, and hear me out here, yeah? Triple H was just trying to get heat. Yeah? And Kane never actually did the things he was accused of, that we know of, right? It was just Triple H trying to get heat. And if that had been 1997 DX, right, we'd have just let it go. Would we not? Would we not have just let it go?
Part of me, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm huffing, and I get where you're coming from, but even I've got to say that line. There's that line. You just don't cross it, because I'm trying my best to keep this as clean as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
To not rage out, because there is absolutely no way this cannot be buried. It's got to be buried. It's got to be buried. It needs to be buried, cremated, and everything else. I don't want to see the light of day of it. That entire feud haunts my nightmares. It haunts me.
And this is our opportunity to bury it alive.
Please bury it. Let me rest with it. Let me rest, because for me, now can you imagine advertising wrestling, talking about it, and just as you're telling people, come watch it, and that's the first that they get introduced to. Are you telling me that's going to put a lot of butts in seats?
Okay, I've tried to play devil's advocate. The truth is that this is a terrible idea and should definitely be buried alive. But we're trying to have fun. We're trying to entertain you, yeah? So I think let's do it. Let's bury alive the Katie Vick storyline.
Definitely.
That's it. It's buried alive.
I still think it needs to go deeper.
Okay, we're back, and this is Top 3. And this week, Matt Burns, it's your turn to Top 3. Can we have it in the correct order this week, please? Yes, we can. Okay, good, because we have had lots of comments about that as well, and emails.
Yes,
about
I know. I've been told enough.
How terrible Top 3s are when you don't do them in order of 3, 2, 1. So, this week, I would like you to Top 3 again. And what we're doing in this segment is we are doing Top 3 of any particular subject, and that's for the other host to choose. So if it's your turn this week, then I get to choose what you're about to top 3.
That's
and
fine.
What we would all like to know this week, Matt Burns, is what are your top 3 wrestling weddings?
Ooh. Top 3 wrestling weddings. Now, I will say, we know how these go, typically.
Yeah.
They always go in car crashes.
Yeah.
With one exception.
Okay.
With one exception.
There's one that was like at the top of my list when I thought about this, and I thought if he doesn't say this one, then the entire thing's a write-off. So let's hear your top 3 and let's talk them through.
I could be really deliberate and do them in random order if I wanted to.
No, do 3, 2, 1, please.
I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. 3, the reason why is because of one segment that happened in this that's stuck in my mind.
Okay.
And as much as I have a feeling now, if I mention it may get cancelled. No, that was suddenly just thought about it.
Go on.
Billy and Chuck.
Yeah, this is the one of mine, and it is by far for me the best wrestling wedding of all time.
Yeah.
And it's made by Bischoff.
Yes! You know exactly what I'm on about now, don't you? The reason why is because it was the fact that this was the one time where I did not see Bischoff being there.
So do you want to hear some fabulous background news on this? So he revealed on his 83 Weeks podcast, when they were talking about this, Bischoff did, that they did the prosthetic makeup and nobody else knew that he was the officiant at the wedding. So he was walking around backstage all day in that makeup and nobody knew it was him. He was walking around in character all day, and only the people who did the prosthetics and a couple of producers and obviously the people in the segment knew that was him all day. How amazing is that?
I love it.
It's fantastic. Such a good story.
The more that now you just said that, I hate you for that. Part of me, I can't believe I put that on number 3 now. I feel like it needs to be higher.
Right, what's
but
number 2?
No, but I'm not. It's just the fact of when you hear him do the officiating, and all of a sudden goes, did somebody just say 3 minutes? And he just drops it in his voice. It's like, see, my brain's went, no!
Yeah, it was such a good reveal. A top reveal in wrestling. If you haven't seen that, go and YouTube it because it is fabulous. The Billy and Chuck wedding, it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely fantastic. I loved it, all for the right reasons.
Yeah,
and
it was silly, it was fun, and it was brilliant.
Definitely. Now, this 2 and 1, I went in between.
Okay.
Because I kept going back and forth on it. Simply because One of them was genuinely could have been a tragic, but it didn't. Well, as in, I think this is the one that where we didn't have actually anything vicious that happened during it. It almost happened after it.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, what a lovely wedding. That's number 2, yeah?
Yeah, definitely number 2. And I know some people might get upset it's not number 1. I know.
Ooh, yeah.
But
Dig it.
I had to get that on the list. I have to, because where it could have gone tragic is Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
The attack. But it ends up being averted by The Undertaker.
Yeah, brilliant.
But the actual wedding itself, it's the only wedding where something drastic during it doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
So straight away, enough said.
Yeah, okay.
On that.
Next one.
Number 1. Wow. This one, the more I sat down and thought about it, it had to be number 1.
Okay, who is it?
Because it produced such good storyline material for an entire era.
Okay, who was the bride?
The bride was Stephanie McMahon.
Okay, well, Stephanie McMahon's been involved in 3 WWE weddings, so which one? Who was the groom?
Well, technically it's a little bit of a cheat.
Okay.
Because it looked like we're all leading to Stephanie McMahon and Test.
Oh, yeah.
You can see where this is going, can't you?
Yeah.
You know, we're just about to go down the aisle, just about to officiate it, and someone had to ruin the day.
Because apparently you can do drive-through weddings.
Apparently you can do drive-through weddings while someone's inebriated.
Absolutely fantastic.
So much can be said there.
So this is where Cheat was supposed to marry Test, but she was actually married to Triple H at the drive-through without her knowing.
Oh, yes, I love him!
Yeah, so we're against Katie Vick, but we're all for Triple H marrying Stephanie while she's unconscious bladdered.
I haven't thought this through.
So let me just confirm then. So number 3, Billy and Chuck.
Yeah.
Number 2, Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And number 1, Stephanie McMahon and Test / Triple H.
Yeah.
I love that top 3.
The reason why I've gone for that, as much as what you did bring up a good point, but the point being is, it's what it led to.
Yeah.
Because at first, I know you're going to say, oh, it was all staged and everything, but it ended up being revealed it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was all a ploy.
Yeah.
With the whole Daddy's Princess.
Yeah.
Turning.
And it gave us the McMahon Helmsley era.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Enough said.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll tell you what then, let's move on, because next I think it's time that we rebook this.
Pretty much.
Who trusted these guys with the book? It's rebook this. Louder Scott, it's rebook this. Take a shot, it's rebook this. Rebook this.
Yes, welcome to the Rebook This segment, which even I've got to say, even I wonder who trusted us with rebooking it. Of course. This is the segment where we actually give each other a topic to rebook to see if we can make it better or even possibly worse. We don't judge it ourselves. We let the fans judge that one. So it's up to yourselves. You know, with us doing the rebooking, you are the judge, jury, and executioner of us.
You let us know if we did a good job.
You let us know if you did a good job. And for this week, it's Scott's turn.
Okay, it's my turn. Here we go.
I am not going to apologise for this.
Okay.
In one bit. Because I am going to have you rebook the Right to Centre.
Okay, Right to Centre. Right, well, I'm going to start this. I'm going to preface this by saying that I actually think the Right to Centre was a really good idea.
To a degree.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I know that it was a bit of a Mickey take out of the Parent-Teacher Council at the time, the PTC, but the idea on programming, I think, had legs, especially considering the popularity that ECW had garnered by that time.
Yes.
Extreme. Having something that was complete polar opposite to that, and having them come out in shirts and ties, even if they'd cut off the arms, I thought the idea was really, really good. It was a little bit goofy, but it was really, really good. If I'm right in saying, Stephen Richards was the
head,
the lead, if you like, and he had the Godfather, and Bull Buchanan to begin with.
Yes.
Then brought in Ivory.
Yes.
And then eventually Val Venus.
Yes.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking about what they actually did, feuded with the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys, the women's division for a little bit, the Cat and Lita, because she wore a thong.
Yes.
China then led towards WrestleMania 17, I believe, where they were wrestling people like Taz, the APA, etc. So it was a mid-card stable that could have done much more, right?
This is where a lot of people consider saying why the hate for this. And this isn't because of actual hate, to be honest with you.
Okay.
The reason why is because it was good to a degree.
Yeah.
But a part of me feels like, it feels like that instant, that meme, this is what you had, but it could have been better.
Yeah, and for me, I think about, it was a mid-card act, but who on the periphery, upper mid-card, main event, could they have feuded with to have made it a lot better? So if I was going to rebook it, I would have aimed them at, although he was probably really busy at the time, or they both were, especially going towards WrestleMania 17, we got The Rock and Austin, we've got The Undertaker Triple H for the first time. But for me, they would be two that I would have had the RTC feud with separately during the end of 2000, beginning of 2001. So the Rock feud is a mini 1 month feud with Steven Richards, where he's saying profanities, funny things, and the right to censor. Every time the Rock says something controversial on the mic, the right to censor come out and censor him, literally. And every week then, probably 4 or 5 weeks, he has to wrestle a different member of the right to censor. So the first week that he says something and the right to censor come out, Stephen Richards said, no, you can't do that. Bull Buchanan's going to teach you a lesson. So Mr. Buchanan goes to the ring. They do the fight. Obviously, Bull Buchanan gets squashed, but what a moment, right? The next week, the exact same thing, but this time the Good Father goes down to the ring. The Good Father does the match. He's the one who gets squashed. The third
and
month,
so on and so on.
Val Venus, and then the fourth month, finally, The Rock goes out to cut a promo at a pay-per-view, and finally, it's Stephen Richards who's going to teach him a lesson himself. Or, on Raw that happens, Stephen Richards is going to teach him a lesson himself because of the interference of the other members of Right to Censor. Stephen Richards gets a pinfall victory over The Rock, which leads to a rematch at the pay-per-view in which The Rock completely cleans house and beats him easy. But a 1 month story there that is really engaging, gives The Rock something different to do, gives a bit of a rub to the Right to Censor.
Yeah.
And that. Then secondly, I would have done the exact same thing in the lead up to the Royal Rumble. Or not the exact same thing, but I would have done something very similar with The Undertaker in the lead up to the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So, in the lead up to the Royal Rumble, I would have had the Right to Censor decide, right, that motorcycles, are related to violence, and should not be allowed on television. So I would have had Stephen Richards and the Right to Censor coming and getting rid of the Undertaker's bike whilst he was having his matches on Raw and SmackDown.
Nicking it.
Yeah. And but not nicking it. They would say that they were confiscating it.
What would be the correct terminology?
Confiscating, definitely.
Confiscating or reappropriating.
Yeah. So they would take the motorcycle, and then the Undertaker would be absolutely livid that they'd taken his motorcycle. And then, do you know what? I'm having so much fun with this. I'm just riffing off the top of my head.
Wow.
But how good would it be then? Do you remember how they did the couple of times they've done the shark cage match, where the heel's been in the cage?
I can see where this is going.
But have the bike above the ring in the cage. Oh, at this point I'm booking motorcycle on a pole, aren't I? But no, that would lead to a match where it was maybe a 3-on-1, maybe 4-on-1, maybe a 2-on-1, maybe a 3-on-2, 4-on-2 with Kane, and doing Kane and the Undertaker versus all of the Right to Censor for the bike, maybe.
Definitely.
Or do that afterwards, but first have the Royal Rumble match where obviously the Undertaker and Kane, get some retribution on the Right to Censor within the match.
Yeah.
And then leading to a return of the bike in a match on Raw just after. So I haven't got a reboot this for the entire story. their entire run.
No.
But certainly that's a couple of things that I would maybe reboot within the run that would make them a little bit... Because when I think about the Right to Censor and what they did, it was a great idea, but they didn't do enough. So there was a rivalry with Billy Gunn that got him to drop the Mr. Ass name.
Yep.
He became the one Billy Gunn. Yeah. There was the feud with the Dudley Boys, the feud with Chyna and some of the ladies, but there wasn't really a standout feud.
Yeah, where I feel as though what you just hit on the mark there. I'm surprised you didn't go for the obvious choice of the feud, Austin.
Yeah, do you know what though? When Austin first came back at the end of 2000, when the Right to Censor were around, he was going for I did it for The Rock. He was going for who'd run him over. Then Triple H. He won the Rumble. He went to WrestleMania to fight The Rock, and then he turned heel anyway. So,
oh yeah, a bit tough.
Yeah, so it's unless you turn the Right to Censor babyface. And have them feud against a heel Austin, which isn't going to work. There's no room to fit that in.
No.
So for me, I think feuding with The Rock.
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. And to be honest with you, as you were talking through that entire feud, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, please let there be a universe where that actually happened.
Yeah, absolutely. In a multiverse somewhere, the Right to Censor stole The Undertaker's bike and feuded with The Rock. But I just think the Right to Censor could have done so much more.
Yeah, no, that's why this wasn't actually really out of spite, to be honest with you. This was the fact of, it was really, really interesting. Okay, it was, like I said, mid-card level. But I feel as though they had a bit more legs on it.
Yeah, could have done more.
Steve Richards covered this on his podcast show, the Steve Richards Show, briefly. And he just says you'd only got a slotted time and a little bit. Certain people weren't happy with certain segments. That's fine. And I feel as though they could have actually had a bit more enjoyment for them.
Yeah.
If they actually had that major push.
Yeah. I agree, totally.
Yeah.
100%. So, the Right to Censor could have been the hottest act in wrestling.
Could have been.
We're agreed.
Could have.
And in the multiverse, they did. Right, that's the end of the Reboot This segment. Thank you very much for listening. And that brings us to the end of The Burning Truth Live. What I would like to say is, if you think we've done a good job, please let us know. Rate the podcast. Give it the 5 stars if you think we've earned it. Subscribe, please, if you don't. And turn on automatic downloads and get them straight to your phone or your device, wherever you are. Please leave us a comment. Again, if you think we've earned it. We're working really hard to bring you these episodes every week, and we're going to do our best to make them as engaging as possible.
For me personally, whether we've done good or bad, let us know. Give us 5 stars, give us -5 stars.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't give Matt Burns a separate rating to me, but if you could, I'm sure he'd whip my butt. He's very angry. No, if you think we've earned it, please give us a follow, give us a subscribe, and leave us a comment and a review. That'd really help the algorithm, because what we want to do is get this to as many people as possible. So if you like what we're doing, please share it.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Twitter.
On Twitter, which is TBT Live UK. We are on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
We are hoping to get another social media soon. But
maybe.
Maybe.
We'll keep that under wraps for now.
Yep.
You can follow Matt Burns at
Hammer Matt Burns. That will be across the old social medias.
Yeah.
Definitely. You'll find me on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram. I'm all on there.
And you'll find me through the Burning Truth social media profiles. Again, thank you very much for listening. We've really enjoyed coming to you for the next 3 weeks, and we want to keep coming in your ears. So please, please, please keep listening. Thank you very much for listening.
And with that, I believe there's only one word to end the show with.
Goodbye. Excelsior!